Can confidently remember many times in my life when my parents attempted to instill dining etiquette on me, even something as simple and constant as chew with your mouth closed. I think that everyone has some knowledge of etiquette, and especially those specific customs for the fancy and wealthy seen in TV shows and movies. But why are these customs in place, and where did such specific rules for when someone eats come from? There must be a reason I can't put my elbows on the table for dinner at grandma's house. Each piece of these dinner time instructions dates back centuries. To properly understand what makes up dinner etiquette, I want to start first with the original mentions of it in human society that we've seen it as early as they appear. Secondly, I want to go into that preparation setup for a proper dinner. And lastly, those mannerisms and actions that dinner guests are held to within etiquette and what's expected of them. First, let's get into those earliest mentions of the dinner etiquette. That would be one of them is the ancient Greeks. They were the earliest Western dining traditions, and they were documented by the ancient Greeks, found a lot in their books and stories. An example from the University of Colorado at colorado.edu tells of the Greeks' dining habits and the formal dining room they had. It was also known as the antron, and it's where the elite men ate a lot of food prepared by servants, which were led by the women of the Greek houses. The andron could have also been used for hosting a symposium, which was a kind of formal drinking party. But this is an example of adding some formality to dinner, to have that separate place or dining room in which you're going to eat dinner, I think adds another layer uh, that hadn't necessarily been seen before or documented for us to learn about. And then the reason I kind of stumbled on ancient Greeks being the first time we hear of it is because it's also mentioned in the Bible. Uh, a well-known example of this set dinner etiquette is the Last Supper, which is the picture on the slide. It can be seen in this painting, the dinner table set up a very specific way, and everyone's wearing the same sort of dress code. And of course, this proper dining etiquette doesn't just extend to the clothes and the way the table's set up, but also how one carries themselves at dinner. And actually, there's a couple verses in the Bible that talk about this and show that even, the all holy Jesus Christ is not past these table manners. In Luke 14:1, it's a reverse regarding Jesus being invited over for a formal dinner at a prominent house at that time. And this is the entering verse that's kind of talking about this whole situation, but it reads, "One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched." Which I find interesting because, like I said, I mean, of course, he didn't have the prominence per se that he does now as such a figure, but I mean, he was still a leader of the 12 disciples and, revered as a person, and he was still being watched, make sure that you're chewing with your mouth closed or, X, Y, or Z that was important in the dinner etiquette back then still applied to someone of, such a high magnitude at this time. So it really just goes past any ranking. It's you have to act a certain way at certain dinner parties. Second point I would like to get into for this is the preparation for a proper dinner and how to set the table. First of all, glasses. As you can see in the diagram, it is important to set up these glasses before each meal for the guests. It's explained well by Martha Stewart in her visual guide for setting a table. She has a whole slideshow on marthastewart.com/setting the table. Only set the glasses which are necessary for guests to enjoy their meal. Only the glasses used during the main course are set out, and the dessert glasses and wine will be served with the dessert. The water glasses should be placed to the right of the plates, just above the knife, and then the wine glasses to the right of the water glasses, which is in the order they will be used. Nextly is before the meal china, the plates and such. The only piece of china that should be set up before meal is a bread plate and charger, if desired, and a charger is just a large decorative plate, also known as a service plate. The silverware is also important, of course. Set silverware in the order it will be used from the outside in, again on the diagram. The forks go on the left while the spoons and knives go on the right side of the plates. The silverware must be set up so each piece lines with the bottom of the plate. One piece of silverware should not be higher than the rest. There's no set distance for these silverware to be apart from each other, but they must be equal distances from each other. As I mentioned before, there are many mannerisms expected of the guest, the way to act to prepare for yourself. So Emily Post has an article titled "The Top 10 Must Know Table Manners." It says that you must come to the table clean and no grooming is allowed at the table. There's not always a dress code, however, dinner guests are expected to show up in clean clothes. There's a dress code, follow it, of course. While chewing, the very popular sentence again making its debut as chew with your mouth closed. I'm sure we've all heard it enough. Wait to finish chewing before taking a drink of water or wine or, of course, soda or something. This is kind of tailored towards very formal outings. Uh, what to do with your body and hands while you're eating. So do not slouch. You want to eat with proper posture. Do not reach across the table. Ask for something to be passed to you. Do not put your elbows on the table. Cut one piece of food at a time. Don't rush through eating, right? Take part in the dinner time conversation. And as my grandmother always told me, do not go to the food, but bring the food to you. So that was, a decent bit of information. So here's dining etiquette, what to remember. We eat many meals a day and spend a lot of time with others doing so. Eating has been a long time social event and has many rules that have come from it. I brushed on a few of them and left many more out there. Dinner etiquette has existed long before our grandparents telling us to keep our elbows off the table. But remember some of these rules when you want to make a good first impression or find yourself in an upscale restaurant or dinner. Most important thing to practice in table etiquette is to move purposefully, don't chew with your mouth open. And remember next time you throw a dinner party for friends how to set that table, the glasses and the silverware in the right places. There are many small rules to remember with table etiquette, but I challenge you to learn the big ones and practice them with your parents, see if you can get a comment out of them.